everyone, I'm Andrew Harris, and these are Sur Rons.
Hopefully you guys can still hear me pretty well. Definitely trying out some new modifications for my filming. It does feel really good to be back out on the road though. Having not driven this thing for only even 5 days was kind of a drag. I definitely missed having this thing for my daily commute. God, that never gets old. Jesus, dude, come on. So I'm just gonna go for a little cruise. I'm just gonna do a little chat, little update. So right now, at least in California, we're getting some really terrible wildfires. So it's not super close to my area in Berkeley, but we're definitely seeing a lot of the smoke blowing over the top of the mountains into the Bay Area. So definitely something that poses a health hazard for those that have lung conditions or things like that, and especially during COVID, it's just not what you want to see. So not exactly great news for our city, but people will get by just fine. Doesn't seem like it's affected all that much, outside of everyone getting a little light dusting of ash in the morning when you wake up on your patio. So definitely nothing too serious. COVID is, I don't know, under control, I want to say, in my area. Things have gotten bad, but things got better. So at least speaking for myself, as a member of Greek life at Cal, there were a lot of outbreaks this summer. We saw a ton of fraternities and sororities getting contaminated, and that was a real big problem. So Cal posted a bunch of statements about it and said that they're not allowing parties, they're not allowing events, they're not allowing anything. They posted these police signs up everywhere that say, like, don't go to parties. And it seems to be working, although I know for sure at least a couple organizations that are still throwing events, still being kind of irresponsible in terms of their COVID protocols. And so I'm doing my best in terms of making sure that my organization is doing the best we can. This is not the kind of thing that you can just joke about and not really pay attention to, and that it'll go away with time. This is the kind of thing that is going to last if we don't get rid of it. So we got to do our part. Important little reminder, if you saw the section in the breakdown video where I talk about traction control, right now at least I'm only running power mode 2, and that's because it has this sort of traction control system. So I'm going to demonstrate coming down this hill that when I press my regen brake, you get kind of a stuttery noise, and it's hard to film, but and you can see how the wheel is basically stopping and then starting, stopping and then starting. And if I do a pretty hard acceleration, very hard to feel, very hard to film, but it is there. I definitely can feel it as being the rider in this first-person perspective. But then when we go into something like power mode 3, and I hit the power, yep, you can make tire smoke all day, even off-road. The bike is pretty robust, and you're really not going to run into too many maintenance problems as long as you're replacing brake rotors when needed, brake pads, I don't know, keeping the suspension nice and tight if you see it's loosening up at all. And beyond that, I guess just being smart about where you ride it and how you ride it. So right now, actually, going on this about 45-degree grade, I am only using my regen, and you'll see the jittering effect. It thinks that the wheel is slipping because I'm going so slowly. But once again, that's a really great safety feature. Makes your riding experience that much more comfortable and keeps you nice and safe. So basically at any speed, I'm getting ABS, which is really cool. One thing about the bolt-on handlebars I used, I wouldn't recommend this mod for everyone. I think it's only really beneficial if you're pretty short. I'm only 5'8". It works for me. makes my riding experience a little bit better, makes my riding position a little bit more comfortable. But if you're popping wheelies, if you're stunt riding, if you're doing things for, I don't know, for fun, frankly, you're not really commuting daily, then I think the stock bars are completely fine. You really would never need anything but those bars. They're really great. Nothing wrong with them stock. Some people actually even do bar risers, or they get like little headset extender thingies. They basically just make it so that your riding position is that much more comfortable if, say, you're a really tall person. I am lucky enough to not be, so this little mini motorcycle works just fine for me. Another really cool thing to take into account if you're considering buying one of these is that if you're in the state of California, as long as you're driving under 28 miles an hour, the cops will not care. I repeat, they will not care. You can be in LA, you can be in the Bay Area, you could be in San Diego. It doesn't matter. It's a universal police code, and they have no power. You're also protected by these BMX laws that basically allow you to be popping wheelies, to be doing all kinds of stunts and things like that, because it still falls under the categorization of a bicycle. If it were a motorcycle, these would be highly illegal, and you could get reckless endangerment, reckless driving, all kinds of terrible tickets, a bunch of points on your license. But because you don't need a license for this, and you don't need insurance for this, and it's not a motorcycle, you can't get any of those things. They wouldn't have a license plate to write the ticket to. So you're pretty much completely safe in terms of performing mild stunts, as long as you're not endangering others and you're doing it in a closed off environment, or you're doing it in, say, a place that you know very, very well. I don't want to say that doing this in a neighborhood is safe or smart, but if you know your neighborhood well, you know your neighborhood well. And so you're entitled to make your own decisions. Oh, the ride on this thing is just so smooth. Every time I ride this thing, I like fall back in love with it. It's awesome. No offense to my girlfriend. Love you too, but one thing that you don't get few of on this bike is looks. Pretty much everyone you see who you either make eye contact with or who like sees you is going to eyeball this thing for a while, and it's because you can do things like this. Every motorcycle I get a little thing from, every person I get a little wave from, every person on a scooter I get 10 questions from. And there's nothing wrong with that. I definitely encourage people to ask, but also just be sensitive of like what the person on the Sur Ron is doing. Like if I'm trying to go to a pharmacy and I'm in a rush seemingly or something like that, maybe not the best time. Whereas when I'm, I don't know, dicking around on Berkeley campus and I don't have anything better to do, then go for it. Ask away. And I think most members of the Sur Ron community will mirror those opinions. Oh my god, I need to 100% ask that guy what that thing is. Yo, what is that?